Hello, this is Justin VanFulpen, and today NFL Draft Digest. It's Wednesday at the Senior Bowl, and we're going to talk about guys who've helped themselves both on the North roster as well as the South roster. I want to start with some quarterbacks on the North. Dan Lefevre from Central Michigan is a guy who I've really liked his ability, not only at Central Michigan, but down here this week. Has shown the ability to, for his athleticism as well as touch passing. I think he's got enough arm strength as well. And then Sean Cantfield, another quarterback there in the North from Oregon State, a guy whose ability to move, I think, is a really good athlete, a guy who can make the throws on the run, and so he's another guy who's really kind of moved up that draft board. Then you got Jacob Ford. I thought he's a guy who didn't show that he had that top-end speed today. He showed that, be able to beat press coverage and use that speed to advantage, showing some ability to run some nice routes. A guy who's probably going to be a slot guy at the NFL level, but a guy who's done well down here at the Senior Bowl. And then as far as running back, LeGarrette Blount, again, we all know the story about Blount as far as his first game suspension there with the punch against Boise State. He's come back. He's done nicely. He's a big back, big power back. He's got to get downhill and run physical. On the defensive side, you've got Darryl Washington from TCU, a guy who's kind of pushing his way up these draft boards, and a guy who's pushing his way up as far as the total draft boards, a guy who could be a late first-round pick, early second-round pick type guy. Probably a 4-3 linebacker, a will guy who can run and chase, make plays there on the defensive side of the ball just by his athleticism alone. And then on the defensive line, I really like Jared Oldrick. We all knew he had the ability to play defensive end and defensive tackle. What I've liked he's shown as far as defensive tackle is the ability to not only have the power, we know he's got the bull rush type of things, but he's shown some athleticism and as far as some good footwork there. So he's a guy that I've really liked to see what he's done as well. On the South side, I think, as far as there was all that talk about the quarterback Tim Tebow, and he's done better. I mean, he's kind of progressed and stuff like that. But a guy I want to talk about is quarterback Zach Robinson. Really thought he's done a nice job of throwing the football, showing accuracy, showing that ability to really make those plays. And then Dexter McCluster from Dexter McCluster from Ole Miss, a guy who's done a real good ability to catch the football, run the football. I think he's shown better hands, better route running ability than what people have thought. But yes, he's small, under 170 pounds, and that's small for a running back in the NFL. But I think he's a guy who you can get 10 snaps out of, and a guy who you can put out there in wide receiver, run some screens, run some draws, so do different things. He's a guy I think is probably a 3rd, 4th rounder, but he's a guy who's going to be a valuable player on the offensive side of the ball. Then as far as some other guys, Riley Cooper, he's got to catch the football better, but he's been a big physical receiver. I kind of like what he's done. Then you've got on the defensive side of the ball, I think some defensive tackles really helped themselves. You got Lamar Houston from Texas, a guy who's has been a good athlete, been a guy who's shown some good pass rushing ability. I think he's helped his stock. Geno Atkins on Tuesday was pretty much unblockable in the one-on-one matchups there, and he's really kind of helped himself kind of go up that draft board. And then Dan Williams, I mean, everybody's probably put himself in a first-round grade, but he's a guy I think he's cemented that. Everybody was questioning, hey, is he a one-year wonder? I don't think he is. I think he's a guy who could be a nose tackle, could be a defensive tackle, and really a guy that's right there. Running back Ben Tate from Auburn is another guy who I think has shown some ability as far as on that running back side. There's a lot of running backs, and they're all kind of clustered up, but he's a guy who's been able to make some plays there. So that's the NFL Draft Digest. This is Justin VanFulpen. We'll be more and more about the Senior Bowl as we get closer to the game on Saturday, and then we've got the Texas First the Nation, and then we go to the Combine. So keep this locked on NFL Draft Digest, and again, this is Justin VanFulpen.